so bitter. I should have bought a piece of real meat instead. Who knew actual coffee is so disgusting? Well, it's going to keep me awake at least. I guess that is what 3 full meals a day would do to you.
Are you lost, boy? Hey, I'm talking to you.
No. As demanded by the 3rd Special Directive, I am here to surrender myself as a carrier of the nightmare spell.
Are you sure you are infected? When did you start showing symptoms?
A week ago?
Shit! Attention! Code Black in the lobby. I repeat, Code Black!
The nightmare spell first appeared in the world a few decades ago. Back then, the planet was only beginning to recover from a series of devastating natural disasters and the resource wars that followed. At first, the emergence of a strange condition that caused millions of people to suffer from constant fatigue and sleepiness didn't attract much attention. But when they began falling into an unnatural slumber, showing no sign of waking even days later, governments finally panicked. Of course, by then it was already too late. Not that an early response would have made any difference. When the infected started dying in their sleep and their bodies transformed into monsters, no one was prepared. Nightmare creatures quickly overwhelmed national militaries, plunging the world into chaos. No one knew what the spell was, what powers it possessed, or how to fight it. In the end, it was the awakened, those who survived the spell's first trials and returned alive, who finally stopped its rampage. Armed with miraculous abilities earned in their nightmares, they restored peace and built a semblance of a new order. Of course, none of that had anything to do with me. Not until a few days ago, when I first started struggling to stay awake. For an average person, being chosen by the spell was as much a risk as it was an opportunity. Kids learned survival skills and basic combat techniques in school, just in case they were infected. Well-to-do families hired private tutors to train their children in various martial arts. Those from awakened clans even had access to powerful legacies, wielding inherited memories and echoes on their first visit to the dream realm. The richer your family was, the better your chances of surviving and becoming awakened. But for someone like me, someone with no family and no money, who spent most of his time scrounging for food instead of attending school, for someone like me, being chosen by the spell wasn't an opportunity. It was a death sentence.
What's your name, kid?
Sunless.
Sunless. That's a strange name.
What's so strange about it? At least I have a name. Back in the outskirts, not everyone even gets one. It's because I was born during a solar eclipse. My mom had a poetic soul, you see.
Do you want me to contact your family?
There's no one. Don't bother.
All right, Sunless. How long can you stay awake?
Not long.
Then we don't have time for the full procedure. Try to resist for as long as you can and listen to me very carefully, okay? How much do you know about the nightmare spell?
As much as anyone, I guess. Who doesn't know about the spell?
Not the fancy stuff you see in dramas and hear in the propaganda broadcasts. I mean, how much do you really know?
Don't I just go into the dream realm, kill a few monsters to complete the first nightmare, receive magic powers, and become an awakened?
Listen carefully. Once you fall asleep, you will be transported inside your first nightmare. Nightmares are trials created by the spell. Once inside, you will meet monsters, sure, but you will also meet people. Remember, they are not real. They're just illusions conjured up to test you.
How do you know? I mean, no one understands what the spell is and how it works, right? So how do you know that they're not real?
You might have to kill them, kid. So do yourself a favor and just think about them as illusions. A lot of things about the first nightmare depend on luck. Generally, it shouldn't be overwhelmingly hard. The situation you're in, the tools you have at your disposal, and the creatures you have to defeat should be within the range of your abilities, at least. After all, the spell sets up trials, not executions. You're a bit disadvantaged due to, well, your circumstances. But kids from the outskirts are tough. Don't give up on yourself just yet. About those magic powers you mentioned, you will indeed receive them if you survive until the end of the nightmare. What those powers will be exactly depends on your natural affinity as well as what you do during the trial. But some of it will be at your disposal right from the start. Remember, the first thing you must do once inside the nightmare is to check your attributes and your aspect. If you get a combat-oriented aspect, something like a swordsman or an archer, things will be easier. If it is reinforced by a physical attribute, then that's even better. Combat aspects are the most common, so the probability of receiving one is high. If you're unlucky and your aspect has nothing to do with combat, don't despair. Sorcery and utility aspects are useful in their own ways. You'll just have to be smart about it. There are really no useless aspects. Well, almost. So just do anything in your power to survive. If you survive, you will be halfway to becoming an awakened. But if you die, you'll open a gate for a nightmare creature to appear in the real world, which means that my colleagues and I will have to deal with it. So, please don't die, Sunless. Or at least, try to not die right away. The nearest awakened won't be able to get here for a few hours, so we would really appreciate it if you don't make us fight that thing ourselves.
What?
Aspirant, welcome to the nightmare spell. Prepare for your first trial.